That's so awesome. You guys can find your way right on off these steps. We'll see how it goes. Man, I tell you what, yes, that's an eye-daubing situation. Thank you, guys. What a great week. If that doesn't fill your heart with some big, big love, then I believe, John, do we have some paddles out there for people who didn't get it already? I don't know. But, what a wonderful week we have had. And we are starting a new sermon series, 5 weeks, called Missio Dei. We'll talk a little bit more about what all that means, but I got to be honest with you, this is a perfect hinge from our big, big love song. But by the way, if you didn't know it, our Momentum Praise Band, all of these middle schoolers recorded the song. It's posted on Spotify and Apple. If your young person wants to listen along at home, you can go and find it there still. Big, big love. The mission of God. What a fantastic thing that you are here. I'm so glad. If you're a part of our regular family, of course, it's always a welcome home moment. If this is your first time here, I'm going to say it as well to you. Welcome home. We are glad that you are here, and we don't take time waiting to decide to call you family. We are delighted that you're here. As we move forward, one of the things we do at the beginning of every series, and you'll hear a little bit more about this, is the person who wrote the series guide. You may not have known it, but we have a series guide in both pushed to you daily as a reading, or you can listen to it, a 5-minute, 4-minute little podcast each morning, but written in the pen of one of our teachers, Crosswalk Global Teaching Team. I'm one of those people. So next series will be all about the life of Joseph. This series written by our pastor, Andreas Bakai from Redlands. So we're going to launch in, and he's going to have a really short introduction to some of his thinking as we follow on and immerse ourselves in the mission of God.
Hello, Crosswalk. My name is Andreas Bakai. I have the privilege of being the lead pastor at Crosswalk Redlands. And whether you are gathering from Melbourne, Australia, Jakarta, Indonesia, or our newest campus in Frankfurt, Germany, or one of the many campuses we have, West Coast, East Coast, South, we're so glad that you're worshiping with us as part of our growing community. Welcome. One of the things which I love the most about Crosswalk is that while we gather in all of these different cities and countries and time zones, we are one movement following Jesus together. And today, thousands of people across 12 Crosswalk campuses, Love Walk communities are opening the same scriptures and asking the same questionings and beginning the same journey. And over the next 5 weeks, every Crosswalk community is stepping into this new series called Missio Dei. And of course, if you've never heard this, you might think this is like a medical condition. It's not. It's Latin. And the phrase simply means the mission of God. The mission of God. And I really believe that these are two of the most important words that we're going to explore together this year. Because most of us, maybe you don't, but I think a lot of us tend to think that God has a mission and then occasionally invites us to help his mission. But the Bible tells, I think, a bigger and better story. And the story is that God has actually always been on the move. God has been on mission. Before there was a church, before there were pastors, before any of us were born, God was already moving toward the world in love. This is why we know in the Bible God sent Abraham, he sent Moses, he sent the prophets, he sent his son, he sent his spirit, and then astonishingly, he sent the church. And that means the invitation of the Christian life is not to create a mission for God, but it is to recognize what God is already doing and join him there. And so we're going to recognize in the next 5 weeks that perhaps your workplace is not simply a place where you earn a paycheck. I mean, what if your neighborhood is not simply where you live, or your school, or your family, or your friendships, or even some of your most difficult relationships might be places where God is already present and already at work. And imagine what could happen if every person across every Crosswalk community began looking at their city that way. Less pressure to carry the weight of the world, less anxiety about whether you're doing enough, but being more attentive and be more available to what God is already doing, to what God is already up to. Because this is what we'll return to over and over again. You do not start God's mission, you step into it. Let me say it again. You do not start God's mission, you step into it. And my prayer is that over these next 5 weeks, we will become less focused on trying to accomplish something for God and more attentive to what God is already doing in the people and in the places around us. Thank you so much for being part of this Crosswalk community and for taking this journey with us.
Missio Dei. Well, and can I also just say that this stage is temporary, so those of you growing nervous about how close I am to you, I'll be back up there. You'll have your same gap. It's only this week that you need to fear what could happen here. But I frankly would get as close as possible. I would stand out there somewhere probably and be happy about it. Missio Dei, episode 1 today. You know, that word mission, how many of you have gone on a mission trip? How many of you in the room have been a student missionary? Okay, so how many of you have a family member that is or was a missionary? Yep. Lots of us in the room. Mission. Some churches never talk about it. Others, it seems to be ever present. And our faith community, the Seventh-day Adventist Church, has a long history of what we call mission engagement, missionally minded, trying to get something done out there. Missio Dei. I remember as a small child. Now, so look, first of all, I'm going to share some experiences from being a child in the Seventh-day Adventist Church faith community that for some, you would be completely unfamiliar with what this is. I'll do my best to decode. Anybody here know what I'm talking about if I use the title Mission Spotlight? Okay, so some of you are going, is that a, so one of our kids on camera and then they're moving a spotlight? No, actually what would happen is there would be a teaching time in little groups, and then people would come in and to the sanctuary, to the auditorium, and there would be the normal worship service, but in between, on certain weeks, they would have this thing called Mission Spotlight. And I remember the voice of the dude, man. You could be, if I heard that right now, I would just sit down and, where are the slides? Because that's what it was. It wasn't video. It was slides would come up from some part of the world. And we're raising money for a mission to that part of the world. And my grandparents were missionaries. I spent a year as a student missionary. I've led about 15 short-term mission trips with high schoolers. I remember as a young pastor, again, in our faith community, there was a time that the administrators, the people I answered to, they would supply people like me, young pastor, with this form that I needed to fill out things on it. And I suppose, I never quite did this. I don't know if I retroactively could get fired, but I heard about people who did it. At some point prior to the church service starting, as a little class is finishing up, somebody would stand up and would ask, okay, so how many of you gave away a blanket this week? Okay, one blanket. Yeah, and I was supposed to keep track of how many blankets. And then there was literature, pieces of written materials. How many of those items did you give out? Because this is mission. I got missioned yesterday. So I came out from getting my hair cut, where I sport clips, where I met some of our church members. That was awesome. And I went out to my car, and there, under my right windshield wiper, I had been very tiny, and it was warning me, a piece of literature about my decisions and the possible repercussions and how much time I have left. Oh, wow, that feels specific. Because I had been anonymously missioned. And some of us are uncomfortable going to church. Thank you. Good on you. I feel Australian suddenly. Good on you for coming, making it here to a church where you have to survive the possibility that a religious Amway meeting is going to happen. Possible Tupperware sales, or some of you have no idea what I'm even talking about right now. What is this Amway you speak of? Multi-level religiosity triangle. Get in early at the top. Mission. And we walk into a place of religious concerns to be kind of haggled about joining somebody's strategy. And sometimes it's pretty aggressive. And other times we walk into a space, maybe like Crosswalk, and feel, oh, thank goodness. Whew. I don't have to listen to that. Then Pastor Dave stands up and says, welcome everyone, new series, Missio Dei, Latin, mission. Some of us have kind of felt like, okay, so I think what God is calling me to, I'm kind of a everyday Clark Kent. Somebody asked me my middle name the other day. A couple of people asked me my middle name. It starts with a K. They went through a list that included Karen. And one of the two said, yeah, seemed to make sense. And I took offense to that. No disparagement to the Karens in the room. My middle name is Kent. And so, yeah, how about Superman? Maybe that's what I'm called. That's what you're called. That's what I'm called to be. The world is in trouble, and I need to fly in. I am on a mission to save the world, right? The weight of the world on my shoulders. I don't know if you've ever had a pastor, a teacher, a parent, a someone give you that kind of heavy guilt trip. Don't look away, Liam. You. Superhero stuff, right? You got to come up with a plan. It's probably going to involve the internet. Oh, AI, maybe we can get it to everywhere. Let's get going. From the beginning of time, God has been on a mission. And it's possible He does not need my plan getting in the way of his. He might not need Clark Kent or David Kent. We read these words and they're so familiar, but pause on them for a second, for this is how God loved the world. He gave his one and only Son that everyone who believes in him will not perish but have eternal life. You see, God sent his Son to the world, not to judge the world, but to save the world through him. Simply put, we can cloud it with all sorts of things. But the mission of God from the foundation of the world has been a rescue mission of salvation to the world. And so Revelation will say, this rescue mission, the Lamb slain, the Jesus on the cross, we come to it and we see Golgotha, we see Mount Calvary, and some of us aren't even sure because we are not churchy kind of people what that Golgotha thing even is. But we know the cross, we've seen it hanging from people's necks, and we've seen fish on bumpers, and that means something, Jesus. And we do our best to put catchphrases around the mission of God, and in so subtle ways turn it into my mission that I'd like to invite you into. But all the way back, before Adam and Eve, Jesus knew the mission we needed. So before creation, the mission begins. And if you were to come up with a little catchphrase for God's mission, it possibly could be this: God sent. God is not waiting for you to show up at a crosswalk to come looking for you. He's not waiting for you to dust yourself off to come to find you. He's not, Haley, waiting until you've got it all together to save you. His mission is to come and find you when you're broken. When you can't make it to him. He comes because God is a God of sending out. Do you recall it? Jesus has died on the cross. The book of John records that shortly after resurrecting from the tomb, and the disciples have kind of argued with some women who claimed that he was risen. Then some of them have gone and they've seen, I think he is risen. And now they are both kind of, excited, anticipatory, and scared, and not sure, confused. The whole thing is confusing. And so what they choose to do, because there probably are already rumors that the authorities believe that they, the disciples, the followers of Jesus, are up to something nefarious. They are making up rumors and lies, and so they have locked themselves into a room. And while they're talking with each other, comparing notes, discussing, could this be? Could it really be? I mean, say it again. What the women say they saw. Peter and John, say it again. Why you think Jesus was risen from that grave. And they are turning it over, they're considering it, and suddenly the room was filled both with everyone who had already been there plus one. Because Jesus, in John chapter 20, shows up in the room. I wonder how many moments before someone notices. I mean, is it a flash of light and maybe a kind of like a porthole swirling and then Jesus steps forth, and certainly he's wearing that kind of maroon sash. Or does he just appear, lean into a conversation? Interestingly, his first words are, "Peace be to you." Because when Jesus shows up and you're not expecting him, it can be startling, it can be disruptive, it can be disturbing. And for someone here, you maybe came hoping to make it in and out and satisfy somebody who said, "Please come, please come, please come, good coffee, come." And somewhere in the second song, you notice Jesus leaning into your life. And let's be honest, for a lot of days, it's more comfortable. It's more predictable. I mean, I was on a mission of my own. I had something I was planning. So when Jesus leans in, it's disruptive and frankly can be frightening. And he says, "Peace." Just, okay, breathe. Breathe. Just look at me in the eyes now. Just big breath in and out. Peace. Peace. They talk. And he says this. The second time, he says, "Peace. Peace be to you." And so, just as the Father sent me, so I'm sending you. You see, Jesus says, this mission of God is so vast and so big, it has room for a fool like me. It has an opportunity for someone who doesn't understand how to unpack the book of Romans. It has space for a mom who feels like she's blowing it, for a son who doesn't know how to talk to their parents anymore, for that coworker who frankly has such an attitude you just started calling it tude. Jesus says, there's room in here for you. You don't need to go create a mission. Get into mine. You see, God's mission is a flowing, runaway river. Big, big love. It's that river that caught you up in a moment when you thought you couldn't be saved, and you realized if the Bible is true, if Jesus is real and he offers forgiveness, that's what I need. And in these moments we consider this river has been flowing from the beginning. So, no, you don't start the mission. You step into it. I don't know how many of you have stepped into a swiftly flowing river. The Hiawassee, it's one of my favorite 95-degree Sabbath afternoon days. As they release the water, and now it is high enough for me, my family, friends, whomever. We grab our tubes, and we go, and we get in, and you get in, and it moves. And you go where it's taking you. You don't have to say, okay, I need to register like a flight plan. Here's where we're going to. No, it's going. And this river of love is the substance that forgives you, is capable of carrying you through your disasters and your difficulties. And crazy enough, As you get washed into the river you stepped into, you become a part of what God is doing. And he will even use kind of outlandish language like co-mission. Some of you have children the right age that you'll do a project together with them. It's your co-mission. Yeah, all right, lift it. Just go ahead, lift. Here we go. And you know who's doing most of the lifting. But it's a co-mission. See, this gospel commission, if you think about it, we're not Clark Kent turned Superman. We're the kid on the street pointing to Superman. And we're involved. And we belong. But make no mistake, it's not a new thing. It doesn't just show up in the New Testament. Consider this Old Testament passage you might know something about. Genesis 12, verse 1. Abraham isn't even Abraham yet, he's Abram. The Lord had said to Abram, leave your native country, your relatives, your father's family, and go to the land that I'll show you. Crazy, audacious, the river is moving. Abram, jump in. I'm going to carry you. Don't worry about where. The river's moving. It'll be fine. Some of you, like me, need to know exactly where the river is going. How fast, how high, what's going to happen here, what is it demanded of me, what do I need to do? I need to study first. I need to get myself together. The last thing I want is to look foolish in this whole process. I need to, in fact, how about we do it a little differently? I'm getting out over here, and then I'm going to walk a little ways. We're going to have a picnic, and then we're going to... But God sends Abram and invites him to be washed clean and washed away to a place. The river will take you there. See, I will make you into a great nation. I will bless you and make you famous, and you will be a blessing to others. I will bless those who bless you and curse those who treat you with contempt. All the families on earth will be blessed through you. That's it. The mission of God. The mission of God is not to create a church family that holds everyone out unless you can pass the test. The mission of God is not to create in-groups and out-groups. The mission of God is to send his son to save the world, to love the world, to bless the world. Who? Who should we be blessing? Crosswalk, Chattanooga. Who should we bless? Anyone we can find along the river. Because see, it's not a tiny, tiny love. It's not a Seventh-day Adventist love. It is the mission of God to bless all people. I'm noticing, so do you mind if we'll part the curtain, let you peek behind? So I always pick a moment, a cue when I think God will show up and I need somebody to start playing keys. And this is that moment. Thank you, guys. I'm telling you, it's flawless. And then God says, well, I was going to pick a different moment. How about Dave? You step into my mission. How about Crosswalk? You always put it before God. What is your call to me today? Where will the river flow? Know this. He's already said one element of this that needs to be ingrained into the fabric of who I am, that I can know that he has called me to his blessing of all people. So maybe I should be suspicious when there's someone that disagrees with me if the river isn't flowing that way. Maybe I should kind of wonder if there's someone who eats different food than me, who lives in a different town than me, or maybe they're my neighbor, who is in fact the reason why some of us who actually have the name Karen have to explain ourselves now. God says, look, you don't have to be looking around and deciding if they're good enough. If they look like you enough. You can know this. In the workplace that the river takes you to, God has called me to be a blessing. In the family that's falling apart, Jesus invites you to roll with it. Get on an inner tube and flow with me because I've got big, big love. To the events of the day, to the concerns and to the frustrations, God says, I am on a mission. Yeah, in Ghana, in Thailand, in Guatemala, and Hamilton County, the river is flowing. You don't have to be this creative genius who understands how to harness YouTube. Just step in. Go for this wild ride of blessing all people. The mission of God is to bring us home. And he knows just his presence can be disturbing. And so he almost always starts with this: I come in peace. Peace be among you. My peace I give to you. Sing it loud. I am, he says, the Prince of Peace, bringing you, taking you, sweeping you up, your heart to home. So Lord God, as we consider your mission and all you would call us to, maybe we can relax a little in the river, not overthink it, certainly not take ownership away from you, but allow you to sweep us through the relationships in need, the community in turmoil, those who have and those who don't. Lord God, may we, through the course of this time in your word together, be caught up in your heart as you have rescued us. Invite us in. Send us along and sweep us through your river of grace, your big, big love. Amen. Would you stand and sing?